All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Ballhawks podcast. We are 4 days away from the NFL draft, and we got a full lineup card today of hooligans to help us out with our mock draft episode. Joined here, as always, with the Raiders lacrosse. Is that what your team name is, Chris?
Yep.
There you go. Sport it. He's
Las
a Raiders peeps. You heard it here first. What's happening, dude?
Just trying to get through my Sunday. Like I was saying to you guys before we jumped on, just hectic. Olivia had swimming lessons this morning. I had to go grocery shopping this morning. Kids got a birthday party to go to, and then I have to travel to the metropolis that is Princeton.
Before that, you gotta go do some door frame shopping too. You'd be all set.
Yeah, Ted, why are you yelling at me again?
Beat you up. So we brought on our boys from the PP1 Podcast here. I don't know where to start. Ryan, you've got a great mustache, but Ted, how are you doing?
Hey, he commented on me first, so suck it.
Yeah, man, I'm hanging in there. I feel like I see Ryan frequently with the amount of times that we've been podcasting in the last little bit here. So I'm stoked. NFL's just around the corner, so I think it's like that time where NHL sort of winding down, and we're all sort of switching gears a little bit. And I think I'm just like most people stoked for what's going on in the draft.
And we all know the Canucks have essentially almost mathematically been eliminated, so it's time to reshift our gears. Macho Man Ryan Hank, what's happening, dude? This is your first appearance.
You know what? I'm really excited, and I feel honored because this isn't normally something that I should be invited to. The NFL draft isn't exactly my strong suit. I get invited like every year. Hey, Ryan, you want to come watch the draft? And I'm always working because it's on at 4:00 our time, so most people are still continuing a 9-to-5 job. I don't know if you guys remember that Canadian Tire commercial where they they're all picking teams for hockey, and then there's like the kid brother Albert. He's your kid brother. Like, come on, Albert. And then he ends up being like a superstar. So I'm really feeling like this is going to be my day to shine here. So, and a little spoiler for all you football fans watching on the Ballhawks, I get the first freaking pick. I'm going to cause some chaos.
It's just like real life in our fantasy leagues.
It's 100% exactly like that. Yeah. I'm going to draft Danny Watkins' brother, as it says on my name. So,
yeah.
We
so just to give a little context here, I kind of randomized the draft. I picked out the teams that had one selection and then teams that had two selections because this year's a very unique draft. We have 8 different teams picking twice in the first round. So the math just worked where we're going to have 8 picks each and a couple, as Jacksonville's savior has now anointed himself on the screen. We're gonna get 8 picks. 2 of those are gonna be from teams that pick twice in the first round, so that's kind of fun. And when I threw that into the simulator and Ryan's name came up for Jacksonville, I almost hit refresh it to do it one more time because I'm like, what kind of chaos is Ryan gonna start right away? Like,
lots.
He's gonna do the
strong tackle.
Yeah, the Matt Ferguson classic where he's like, this guy plays in the CFL, right? I'll pick him.
Joffrey. Yeah.
G-Roy Sion still available?
Yeah.
Weston Dressler.
Yeah, I was going to take him.
Hey, he might be available. I have no idea. I haven't heard that he's declared for the draft, but he might. So yeah, without further ado, we might as well jump right into this bad boy. We don't really have a draft list up, but Ryan, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you are officially on the clock.
I'm cashing in on that first pick. I'm loaded with sound. Oh my goodness! So I'm a big supporter of the Jaguars, as everyone knows. I have every jersey but theirs. So. But I'm going to get one, and I'm going to be absolutely going. Like, I don't know how you don't pick this guy, and I know I'm on the clock, so that's fine. But I don't know if you guys watch a lot of Michigan football. I do. And is there even a doubt that we've got this like absolute stud muff, and he's part of the Road Warriors. You can see with his face paint on his draft photo. The guy's an absolute monster. He loves playing against Ohio State. 15 pressures last year. Don't know if you guys knew that. But from the Michigan Wolverines, Aidan Hutchinson drafting. It's into the reality.
Into Roger Goodell. I love how you just called him part of the Road Warriors.
You got to see his full focus photo.
Yeah,
got like
he
the
needs a
face
little bit
paint.
of red.
Oh man,
I like it. Maybe from now on I'll say who the next pick is, and then kind of who's in the queue. So if you're wondering if you have to pick next, so at number 2, the Detroit Lions, Ted is on the clock, and then Chris is going to follow it up with the Houston Texans. So Ted, who you got?
Also a huge Detroit Lions fan, have been for a long time, for as long as they've been bad, which is forever. That's the Browns, actually. So not a huge Detroit Lions fan, but with needs at edge, quarterback, corner, there's lots of to choose from here, and when that kind of pisses me off that you took Aidan Hutchinson. I think there's pressure here to take a Trayvon Walker, but I'm going to go off the board a little bit and take Kayvon Thibodeau. Ooh. I think that's the Myles Garrett comparisons are scary. I mean, he looks the part. I think down the road, he's got the highest ceiling of all these guys remaining on the board. And I think that you get a higher floor with somebody like Walker, but I think Thibodeau might be the right pick here. So I'm going to go with Oregon sophomore, Kayvon Thibodeau.
Those Oregon edge rushers getting picked high. How has that worked out in the past?
That's
right. Stick jerseys,
hey,
but they don't get to bring them.
I'm picking as if I'm Detroit here. So it's very likely that I'm going to make a home run mistake, right?
I like that. I mean, he's got probably the fastest 2 steps coming off the edge. He looks scary. To me, he's the one guy who I can't figure out if he's going to go 2 overall or if he's going to go 12 overall.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I just have no clue where he's going in there. So we got back-to-back edge rushers. Chris is on the clock with the Houston Texans, and then I get the New York Jets. Jets.
So I was really excited when you gave me the Texans because it was probably the easiest team to get to draft for because I don't really have to worry about what position I'm drafting because when you look at what their team needs are, it just says everything.
It actually says that. It does say that.
Second string quarterback, third string quarterback,
right wing in hockey.
I really can't make a mistake here with who I pick. I think I might just go with like coolest name on the board.
This is a tough one.
There are some pretty cool names on the board. That's for sure. But I think with the 3rd overall pick heading to the AFC South, Houston Texans from Louisiana State University, Derek Stingley Jr.
Wow.
Cornerback.
Wow.
So probably the highest overall player rated on the board too. So
this is the best part of doing a mock draft with multiple people is you just get so many different varying opinions. And that's why the draft is so exciting because you start getting 32 GMs in on these kinds of things who value players at a different height. Like I don't have Stingley going there at all. Other people do. And that's where it starts like, oh, this guy fell to me. He's the best player in the draft. No, this guy's the best player in the draft. So I've got the New York Jets here on the clock. Ted is coming back with the New York Football Giants. The Jets at 4, I feel like it's got to be a corner because, in my opinion, the best corner in the draft just fell to me. I have Sauce Gardner as the best corner in the draft. He's still sitting there. But then you start thinking about, protecting the quarterback. I know they have that big behemoth Becton on one side. You could also pair him with another tackle. But I think I've got to take Sauce Gardner here. Too good, too long, too rangy. Sauce Gardner to the New York Jets.
They're going to waste that pick too.
I love it. And there's a ton of these huge corners in this draft too this year, right? These long, sort of lengthy guys that just cover range. They don't look super quick, but that's not really the mode of what today's NFL quarter is going forward either, right?
Yeah, and I would agree. I don't know if it's because they're so long and rangy that they don't look quick. And then I think Sauce Gardner ran like a 4.41 or something like that at the combine. So like they're moving, they just look smooth and like it's just so effortless with it. So, how did this? Okay, so we've got we're going to be sitting here listening to Fiji for a while here. We've got the New York Football Giants, Ted at 5. We've got the Panthers with Ted at 6. And we have back to the New York Football Giants.
I'm getting dummied in real life, and they're also getting dummied in real life, the Jags.
Jake's got 12 picks and watch them all be trash players.
He just assumes that like their mock drafts will be bad as well as their real draft will be bad.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who takes on the Jaguars, they are going to fail.
I mean, you have to think there's going to be a multitude of trades. Those guys got a ton of ammunition. I could see them walking away only making 8 picks in this draft or even less.
Right.
So we'll see. It should be fun.
Before you get started there, Ted, I guess I forgot one thing at the start of it. We are doing a stick and pick draft. There's probably a ton of different trades that are going to happen in the first round just for ease of, not making ridiculous trades. We're doing a stick and pick draft here. So Ted, you've got the first pick of the New York Football Giants at number 5.
New York Football Giants. So again, needs we're looking at probably tackle, edge. I mean, this is going to be a pretty common theme. Tight end, which isn't going to happen, and then corner. And there's some good ones on the board here too. So at the end of the day, I don't think it matters who's playing quarterback for this franchise if you can't be protected. And there's some good ones on the board here. But I figure the Giants, keep it safe and go to Alabama to select junior Evan Neal. I mean, this could be a guy that just plunks his way in, day one starter, doesn't miss any starts, and just sort of cruises to like a 12-year career here where you don't have to worry about this position at all. So I think they have to take consistency here, and I think that comes in the form of Evan Neal.
That's a really interesting philosophy when you start thinking about what teams are going to pick. Like you said, he's probably, in my opinion, he is the safest tackle there. And it's like, they can't afford to take a swing on a guy and miss at this point. If they really want to see what Daniel Jones has, they've got to protect him. Evan Neal's going to come in there. He's going to start from day one. Great pick. Now you've got the Carolina Panthers, where this could start messying some things up. And then you, again, are in the hole with the New York Giants' second pick.
Okay, so I really wanted to go the way that the selections shook down. I don't have a lot of like these chances to make exciting picks, like a lot of them we're talking about as we go down these teams that you stuck me with, including the Pittsburgh Steelers. Thanks for that. A lot of really like, D linemen. We're looking at probably interior linemen, and I want to have some fun. And although I think it's like, it would be smart for the Panthers to go tackle here and maybe take a Charles Cross, I'm going to say swing for the fences and they take Malik Willis here. I think they're going back. I think it's too high. It's clearly too high. And this seems like a Panther pick to me. That sort of like Mike Vick factor, the extra running back factor that Carolina has just been known for the last like decade or so. And I don't, I don't see any reason why not to spend a funky pick here. And I'm going to go Malik Willis in this one.
Good call.
Yeah, that's definitely, like I said, where it could get messy. Ideally, I think if you're the Carolina Panthers, if Malik Willis was that pick, let's say you are picking correctly, I think you would hope to get a trade out of that spot to move into the mid-teens early. Who knows where, but you definitely probably don't want to be picking Malik Willis at 6, but
who knows?
I think
their guy. It could be a fun. This is the chance. You're right. This is the spot at 6 where it just muddies the draft, and I think Carolina has the potential to do that.
I think you're on the right trail, though. I don't know if Malik Willis is going to be the pick, but I do think Carolina definitely goes quarterback, and I think they stick at 6 and get their guy.
Okay, we've got number 7, the New York Football Giants, back to Ted again. Man, Ted,
well done.
here. And Ryan is after with the Falcons at 8.
Gardner's
got
been
some
taken.
good choices there.
Okay, so I think they stay. I think the Giants stay on the line, but they go to the defensive side of the football. And I'm going to take Jermaine Johnson the second in this spot. I think they're going edge. I don't know. I think after this part, I think it starts to get a little bit convoluted who the top edge is left in this part, and I think that Jermaine Johnson might be the guy that they're targeting here. So it might be, again, a little bit off the board. And I think it's a chance to muddy this up in the 3 picks that you gave me in a row. So I'm going to stick with that.
I like it. I like it being muddied up. We've got Ryan with the Atlanta Falcons and then Christopher with his Seattle Seahawks.
Hold up.
Hey.
There we go. I'm just finding guys here. Make sure I'm doing what I need to do. So, I mean, you look at the Falcons, clearly they need a quarterback. And I think now that Willis is off the board, and maybe you see them make that kind of trade and maybe Atlanta moves up to make that pick in real life, I think that's definitely possible. But considering
if Carolina wants Malik Willis, there's no way they're trading to a team to...
They both need a quarterback.
Right. So, I mean, if that trade happens, if Atlanta's trading up, they're definitely trading to the Giants to leapfrog Carolina.
Yeah. So, anyway, they're in a position, and I mean, they do have some needs, but I mean, you're not going to be going anywhere if you don't have a guy that can throw the ball. So, I'm going to go with I got a feeling about this, and I don't know why. Maybe he's just a good-looking dude. He's got, I mean, he just torched it in his senior year in high school. Fake slide against Wake Forest in the ACC Conference Championship. People love that stuff. That's not the reason I'm drafting him. The dude he's a slick Rick. He's everything you want a quarterback. He had 4,300 yards last year, throwing 42 touchdowns, 7 picks. I don't know how you cannot pick a guy like Kenny Pickett. Like, it's in his name. I'm picking Kenny Pickett. It's in his name. I mean, he's slick. He kind of looks like what's a pickle from Draft Day. Come on, Ted, help me out here.
No, Chris, you're on your own.
Oh man, who was Diddy's quarterback in that movie? I'll figure it out halfway through. But that's what I'm going with. Kenny Pickett from Pittsburgh. I'm gonna Google that right now.
There we go.
We don't have dead airspace because that would be
this is why we invited these boys to really shake things up, get people talking about a mock
Kenny
draft.
Pickett, boys.
Now, Chris, a little disappointed. 2 of the top quarterbacks are off the board when Seattle comes to pick. We've got Chris with the Seahawks, and then I am picking next for the Jets' second pick. Who you got, Chris?
Yeah, so Seahawks 9th overall pick here. I'm not that disappointed about some of the quarterback prospects coming off the board. Malik Willis would have been nice in this spot, maybe, but I've been talking about it. You guys know I'm on team, push quarterback to next year. Let's focus on filling all the other holes that Seattle has. I mean, we have needs at both left and right tackle. We have needs for edge rushers. We need probably a number 1 cornerback still because DJ Reed went. Thanks, Google.
Yeah.
So the Seahawks have a lot of needs. There's some guys on the boards here. I mean, Charles Cross, Ike Ekwonu, both at tackle. I mean, some people have been saying, Seattle should maybe take Kyle Hamilton and move Jamal Adams down into the box. I mean, that's another need for Seattle is linebacker. Like, it's someone like Devin Lloyd on the table here, or Trent McDuffie from Washington, cornerback from Washington there, right? So there's definitely a lot of needs that Seattle has. I mean, who is the right guy? I know who I want to take. I just can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. I just blanked on his name, but I believe.
Well, you're looking, Chris. There's a guy from Texas. His name is Cameron Dicker, and he's a kicker. So I'm going
Dick
to
or the
probably,
kicker.
I'm going to like, I can't wait to see this guy in the NFL. So I know you're finding your guy. So I figured, a little lighthearted moment there. So
This is why Ryan doesn't get invited to these things. Or
this is 100% the reason I don't get invited to these things.
two places Ryan isn't invited to on NFL podcasts and schools, actually, as a fun fact.
The irony is I do run an NFL podcast. And a pretty damn good one, too.
All right, Chris, who are you picking?
All right, I'm going to shake things up here. From the Georgia Bulldogs, defensive lineman. This guy was super impressive at the combine. Jordan Davis.
Wow.
Whoa.
So the Seahawks are moving to a 3.
Whoa.
The Seahawks are moving to a 3-4 this year. They're going to need a guy that can play inside and out. I mean, they've seen Aaron Donald just absolutely destroy game plans for the last 10 years. It's time to get their guy that can do the same thing. And Jordan Davis, come on to the Pacific Northwest.
Crazy. So average draft position for Jordan Davis is in the 20s. So that's, it could be construed as a reach, but if that's your guy, then it makes sense, right?
Now, do I think Seattle's going to stick at 9? No.
You just think maybe they end up with Davis. It could be just at a later pick.
I think they could take him at 9 too, right?
The interesting thing about that is we have this guy who was great all year for the Bulldogs. I mean, for me, it's hard to judge that whole Georgia defensive line and the linebackers because they were just loaded with talent. Like, who made who better? And the other thing is with the Rams just winning the Super Bowl and Aaron Donald being so dominant for so many years, I kind of wonder if teams are going to start valuing kind of that DT position a little bit more when they find a guy that can kind of wreck the game. And I'm not saying Jordan Davis is the next Aaron Donald, but you're kind of always looking for it. So we've got me with the Jets for their second pick in the first round, and then Ted is going to be there for the Washington Commanders.
Great team.
At 11. So for me, at 4, Sauce Gardner fell into my lap. I had to take him. I was actually looking at a tackle, and my number 1 tackle is still on the board somehow. I have no idea how you idiots let him fall. But if I'm the Jets, this is a home run draft. Like I said, they've already got Mekhi Becton penciled in at left tackle. I've got my pick between Charles Cross and Ike Ekwonu. I think Ike Ekwonu has a super high ceiling. So if you're okay throwing him over at right tackle, which why wouldn't you to bookend your tackles? I think they've got a pair of just monsters there protecting Zach Wilson for the next 10, 15 years. So I'm going Ike Ekwonu. And if I'm the Jets, I can't run to the podium fast enough to send this pick in.
I've seen you run too, so
it's fast.
You
pretty
can't
fast.
run.
Pretty fast.
Really fast. Gotta go fast. So we got Ted with the Washington Commanders at 11, and then Chris is picking for the Minnesota Vikings. Who you got, Ted?
The Commanders are kind of a funny spot, right? I mean, they're the team in this draft that needs the most help in the defensive backfield, right? They've been beat up there. They've lost in free agency, and there's already been a run on defensive backs in this part of the draft too. And normally I wouldn't take a safety this high, but for somebody like Kyle Hamilton, I think you have to. So for me, this is the perfect spot for the Washington Commanders to select Kyle Hamilton. I think he obviously can control the backfield. He's a threat to just demolish people as well as pick balls, but he could be that guy that sort of sits in that division and just ruins things for quarterbacks for the next 8 or 9 years. So Kyle Hamilton would be my pick out of Notre Dame.
Great call.
That's a great pick. I know on a lot of draft boards, he kind of somehow he went from like top of draft boards to kind of sliding because I think he ran like a 4.71 at his pro day. But just if you watch any tape on this kid, he's going to be a game changer for a long, long, long time. And if you're the Commanders, that is such a nice value pick for you. We've got Chris with the Vikings, and then Chris is coming back with Houston's second pick in the first round with they got that one from the Browns for the Deshaun Watson trade.
And the free fall is on here for Trevon Walker. I mean, he's now fallen out of the top 10 for us in this draft. So just going to throw that out there.
That's really interesting. there's a couple that I did
Cameron
not
Dicker.
think would fall out of the top 10.
Cameron Dicker's still up there too.
Dicker.
Feels like
So-
a kicker year.
Minnesota's got some needs. Looks like on the offensive line here, they've got some needs for interior offensive linemen. I think at the number 12 pick, it doesn't make sense for them to go to the interior O line. So this could be a potential spot depending on kind of who lands here, who falls, who's available. Maybe this might be a spot that Minnesota trades back to maybe look at a Tyler Linderbaum in the later teens, early 20s, something like that. But they do also have a need for edge rushers. They have a need for cornerback. I am going from the Washington Huskies. He's going from Husky purple to Viking purple. Cornerback Trent McDuffie.
Oh, wow.
Good pick.
Also a top 5 name in the draft too. I'll throw
I
that
think
out
so.
there.
That's fair.
There's a lot of really good names in this draft. I'm not gonna lie.
It's
So
he just ranked slightly ahead of Linderbaum.
We've got Chris with the Houston Texans, which should be easy enough. I mean, they got a really solid corner there, but like you said, they need everything but a number 1 corner now that they have that drafted. And then we're going to 14 for my Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah. So again, Houston needs everything. There's some tempting guys on the board here. I mean, Charles Cross is still sitting there. He's fallen out of the top 10 as well, which is a big surprise. I mean, they do have Laramie Tunsil there in Houston. So, again, Charles Cross, is that a guy that you want to put at right tackle or again, is this a spot that someone wants to trade up and get this guy to be their left tackle of the future? Jameson Williams is sitting there. There's edge rushers, but I mean, I think, Ted just mentioned this guy, and I think it's a no-brainer for Houston. Talk about not being able to run up to the podium fast enough. From Georgia, Trayvon Walker.
Another
That
home
makes
run
a ton of sense.
them.
Yeah.
Man, we just saw
Value.
problems of really bad teams. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Fuck, we're good at this.
we're so good at this. So I'm on the clock with the Ravens here. Ryan is following with the Philadelphia Eagles first pick. I have to say, if the board fell that way, the Ravens are extremely happy. A few of you had mentioned at 11 the Commanders. That's probably a trade up situation for the Ravens. It wouldn't cost a whole lot of capital, or maybe even to the Houston Texans, one pick ahead. Any of those positions. If my big thought was if one of those premier players started to fall, if I'm the Ravens, I'm making that call for a Trayvon Walker. It's too tempting. But for me here, the Ravens have some different needs. They've got their starting 2 corners coming back from injuries, one of them a major injury. They could probably use some D-line help. I know a lot. Jordan Davis has been mocked in here, but he got picked earlier. If I see this draft board, Charles Cross is far and away the best rated player on the board.
Not even close.
In my opinion, it's not even close either. They did just bring in somebody to be on the opposite side of Ronnie Stanley. Ronnie Stanley's injured. So if everything comes back and they get their tackles back, you can always kick Charles Cross inside to guard for a year to start, and let him get his feet under him. But I'm picking Charles Cross, Mississippi State. We have the Philadelphia Eagles with Ryan, and then the New Orleans Saints with Christopher at 16. Ryan, who do you
This
got?
is a tough one because there's been a few guys that have now come off the board, and maybe this is what it feels like to be in a real life draft room where, hey, it doesn't go exactly how you want. So I've been looking around. I mean, it's the Eagles. Used to be a big fan. Used to be. I had a Terrell Owens jersey. That should tell you all you need to know. And a hat. And a hat as well. So that's pretty much a full commitment to the Eagles organization. But I mean, they're going to want to get after a few of those teams. Dominantly, it's going to be the Cowboys that they're going to want to be punishing a lot. And to punish people, you need to have guys that can hit and you need to have guys that can be versatile. And fun fact about George Kalafdis, he's from Greece. Didn't know that. Didn't know that. But
Love Ryan's fun facts.
like if you're not coming here for stats. Anyone that knows me, I'm not your stats guy. But he basically plays every single snap, so he's versatile in that way that you can put him wherever you kind of need him. At the same time, like he doesn't show any signs of weakness as far as an injury goes. And I mean, how many guys do you see that maybe have a later pro day or something because of an injury? And a guy like George, he's ready to go. He's ready to start for those Eagles fly now with batteries. George Kalafdis from Purdue. Lock it in.
This is exactly why we brought Ryan on.
This is 100% exactly.
We're going to do one more pick before we take a short little TV timeout break. So, Chris,
do we get to go to the bathroom at that point or what?
Nope.
Oh, shoot.
We got Chris with the New Orleans Saints. Who you got?
So Saints have needs. I mean, this is definitely a team that is likely to. They made a trade with Philly to get a second first-round pick. Lots of speculation that they're going to be looking to trade up, probably into that top 10. Maybe into that 5 spot that the Giants currently hold to try to get their quarterback, maybe leapfrog Carolina and Atlanta. AFC South is in dire need of some quarterback help for the future. They did bring back Jameis, but obviously that's not the long-term solution there. For the Saints, though, I mean, they do have some other needs. Outside of Michael Thomas, they don't have much at the wide receiver. Marquez Callaway looked okay. Traquan Smith hasn't been great. I am going to the Ohio State.
There you go.
Garrett Wilson, wide receiver.
That's a good pick.
Wow.
First wide out off the board, I believe.
First wide. I got to be honest. I would spend a lot of money betting to say that the first wideout comes well before number 16 in this draft. But who knows? Like maybe we're missing. I probably could have taken a wideout with the New York Jets at either of their positions. I just feel like when better players are falling and there's still a need to grab them, go get the better players. We're halfway through round 1. We're going to take a quick break here before I'm back on the clock with the Chargers making their selection.
Support for Ball Hogs Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawn Mower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code BALLHAWKS20 at manscaped.com. Let's chat for a second here, fellas. Man, if you've been shaving with the same nut trimmer on your face, you've been doing it wrong. No person wants to end up with pubes in their mouth. Imagine shaving with a sleek, well-designed and optimized trimmer that makes shaving time your favorite time in the bathroom. Manscaped engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on an intelligent functionality and an incredibly comfortable grooming experience. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. I now feel confident shaving my boys. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BALLHAWKS20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code BALLHAWKS20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Nice.
You guys talked about Manscaped? It doesn't, like, it's called the Lawn Mower. I have the 3.0. Use it for your boys, not for the actual lawn. It takes forever. But I mean, it gets when you use it the way it's supposed to be, man, does it get close. I mean, like a work of art down there.
That's a glaring review from somebody who basically wears a shirt under his shirt all the
Man,
time.
it's always sweater season for me.
Always sweater season in the Hank household.
Yeah.
Your wife is such a lucky woman, Ryan.
Look at all that.
Such a lucky woman.
Look at, there's so much to offer there.
Good Lord. Okay, back to football stuff. The Los Angeles Chargers have, a couple needs. They could use a corner. Andrew Booth Jr. is just sitting there. Very intriguing player, very complete. Like we were talking about, Ted, sometimes you want to just hit a double instead of swinging for a home run. That's maybe what Andrew Booth Jr. is. Again, so many of these wideouts have fallen to me. They could use a tackle. Trevor Penning is still there. Mean, nasty dude. I think with Mike Williams coming off of his injury, they might lean towards wide receiver in this draft if this is how it fell. And I'm looking at Drake London from USC, who can kind of fill that big boy role of Mike Williams. So if this is how the board falls to me, I'm the Chargers picking Drake London. And the wide receiver run has started.
And it's contagious. It's contagious, not going to lie.
Yeah. For a franchise that's had a ton of success with those big boy receivers too, right? So that makes sense. I think you made a really good point about like it taking till, I don't know, what pick was it? 16 for the first receiver to come off the board in a draft where I was initially kind of expecting as many as 6 to go in the first round. So if that's to happen, it's going to be a hot and heavy run on wide receivers over the next little bit here.
I was also listening. I can't remember what I was listening to last week, and there's a really interesting debate that was brought up with wide receivers because you just had Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill sign these monster deals that they're making more than quarterbacks are. They were talking about how in the first round, you might actually see more wide receivers sneaking in because of the price tag that comes with them, kind of like what is happening with quarterbacks, right? You get them for 5 years on the cheap. So does that start filtering some second round talent into the first round to avoid paying a guy $25+ million at a wide out position? So,
yeah, think about running backs like 10, 15 years ago, right? I mean, we're in the same mode where we're not seeing, as many running backs sort of like masquerade in that number one spot as to be, top guys where they sort of share the load now because contracts are getting so high and they're talking about mileage. So, I mean, it's a little bit of a different scenario, but they're sort of going that way with receivers moving forward now, or at least it looks like it might be that way.
Yeah. We have the Philadelphia Eagles. So we've got Ryan making the Eagles' second pick of the first round, followed by the New Orleans Saints. Chris making their second pick of the first round. Ryan.
I feel like I've been typecast to have the Eagles. That's not very fair. I don't want to make all their picks. But I'm gonna.
But you have the hat and stuff, so.
I have the hat and the jersey. I think that's it. Pretty sure. If we're good for time, I'll go get it right now. It's only gonna take me 5 minutes. I mean, Ted, you
maybe just make a pick.
I think I'm just gonna make a pick.
Okay.
Good call.
So it is tempting to. Everybody knows that Ryan likes offense, but I have to be a grown up here. This is why you brought me on, and I think the Eagles still need some defensive help. It's fairly obvious because they're not in the
playoffs.
They're not.
We'll talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
So I'm going to go with the Booker T lookalike, all the way from Utah. My man, Devin Lloyd with 2 L's, baby. The guy is an absolute piss missile, and seriously, he's going to be all over the place, and you're going to love him in Philly. I love him already, so much so that I'm drafting him, and I just hit that button.
All right, we've got Chris with the New Orleans Saints, and then Ted got Seward picking for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Boo. Chris.
I think Devin Lloyd to the Eagles there is a great pick. So
I know, thank you.
Good job, Ryan, for getting something right.
I'm good at things.
I mean, again, the Saints, I mean, we took a wide receiver with the first pick there. They still have a need at quarterback. They still have a need at tackle with Armstead moving on to taking his talents to South Beach and signing with the Miami Dolphins in the offseason. Again, maybe this is a team New Orleans is looking at, probably not, but maybe they're looking at pushing quarterback till next year. I don't know. So with this pick from Central Michigan, Bernhard Raimann, tackle. Raimann.
They need like a pronunciation thing there.
The Rain Man is off the board.
Definitely.
I think we just coined his new nickname, which is
Definitely Kmart.
pretty impressive for us to give him his first NFL nickname. So all royalties, Bernhard Rainman Ryman.
Definitely Rayman.
Definitely Rayman. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ted is on the clock, followed
that's
by
my favorite team.
Ryan once again, and he is picking for the New England Patriots after.
Oh, my second favorite team.
Do you also have a jersey and a hat?
I don't own any Patriots gear. I could borrow some from our good buddy Rich, though. He has some.
Oh, he's got a bit of Patriots gear, yeah.
I got to go to PG. That's an 8-hour trip. So if you guys want to just pause, I can go get them.
Little coffee break for 8 hours.
All right. Pittsburgh Steelers. Screw those guys. Anyways, this is a really easy pick. Pittsburgh, just they haven't locked up the punter situation. I think it's imperative that they go ahead and draft Jordan Stout from Penn State. If he's somehow gone at this point, I think Dicker, the kicker, would be a great option as well. Only because I want them to waste that pick in the division. Actually, what really happens, though, I think they probably wanted to go tackle, and I think that the guys that they probably wanted are off the board. And then if we're looking at quarterbacks, I didn't expect Pickett to go that early, and I thought that would have been a good Pittsburgh pick, really, right? I mean, he stays there, and I think they probably have had hot eyes on him without even having to send guys and scouts to the game, right? So I think that would make sense, but that's gone. Willis is gone. So I have to go with Matt Corral here. I think, another athletic quarterback. They're pretty much all athletic, it seems, at this point. He's, a danger to take it to the house at any point. He's got a rocket launcher arm. I think he's really improved his game. Only 20 TDs last year, but also only 20 picks. So it will be a bit of a developmental project style pick for them. But I think they have a guy there right now who can sort of hold the torch for him until he's ready to move up. So although I don't like this pick, I think it's probably a smart one for a team like Pittsburgh, and let's just hope it doesn't pan out.
So honest. I really hope things go terribly for you. Okay. Yeah.
I really hope you crash and burn. We got Ryan, pick number 21 with the New England Patriots, and then I am on the clock with the Green Bay Packers. Ryan, who you got?
Oh, man, this is tough. This is tough because we all know that Bill Belichick, he just seems to find these guys that, end up being okay in the NFL. He actually found Tom Brady. He found him. No one else had heard about this guy. Just some flabby white kid that turns out had a pretty good career. You got to get the ball in the end zone. Ryan's going fun mode, and I'm pretty sure I seen a few of this guy's games last season. We're going wide out, baby. We're going for the hot heat. We're going for a guy that kind of looks. I'm not going to say it. He looks a little bit like Jody Fortson, but not quite. Jameson Williams from Alabama. Welcome to the New England Patriots. Time to score some TDs, baby.
Scoring some TDs.
Steve, you're a big Bama fan. Can you tell us a little bit more about Williams?
Yeah, if this happens the way it's happening right now, it's probably because he tore
what's happening?
ACL, in the national championship game. If he doesn't, he's probably looking higher up there, probably the first wideout taken. He's a beast of a deep ball threat, which maybe works for Mac Jones. I'm not really sure. If they let him throw more than twice in a game, that will definitely work for him. I've heard a lot of stuff saying that Jameson Williams will excel the best, and I agree with this, if he is put in a DK Metcalf like role where he doesn't come in as the wide receiver one where he's got to run every route in the route tree. Pair him opposite somebody and you've got the best secondary option in the NFL. And you can just let him take the top off defenses and let another wide receiver kind of do those dirty underneath things. But at that late in the first round, I think that's a great value pick.
It's a steal, some would call it.
I would say it's a steal, definitely. So we've got me with the Green Bay Packers here, and then Chris gets to pick for his divisional foe, the Arizona Cardinals.
You really sewered Ted and I, you big jerk.
Look, you hit a randomized button. Ryan gets first pick. You get the Cardinals. Suck it up.
Yeah, man. You get to be BFFs with Kyler Murray. It's fine.
I couldn't do a whole draft of taking defensive linemen either, so I had to throw some early quarterback picks in there.
If I'm looking at the Green Bay Packers, the biggest glaring need they have is wide receiver. And, there's a lot of phenomenal wide receivers left on the board. They just never pick wide receivers in the first round. So why would I pick a wide receiver in the first round? Now, if Ryan had this pick, he's picking a wide receiver in the first round.
Guys, it's guaranteed.
It's guaranteed. There's no question about it that Ryan is throwing some chaos.
Who's the next Jordy Nelson? That's what we want to know.
That's right. I know the Packers could use offensive line help. They still like running the ball with that big two-headed monster with Aaron Jones. There's my blank for the day. I even have him in fantasy football, and I forgot his name. And Quadzilla. Sorry, Ted, but the Quadzilla does not belong to you. I see a clear tackle on the board here that you could pair opposite Bakhtiari. I'm picking Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa. Pro Football Focus gave him a 99.9% run block grade, which is the highest ever. He's a monster. He is a mauler. He finishes everything. And I think he fits in perfectly with that offensive line for the Packers. So Trevor Penning, Northern Iowa.
I had him going earlier, if that counts for anything.
So what you're saying is I just got a steal.
You got a steal, yeah.
Man, we are stealing this draft, Ryan. The other two, you guys suck, but Ryan and I are getting some steals.
I made a fun little comment. The Packers also need confirmed vaccination status, and that's still on the board. So
still available.
Apparently, that's something they should be picking up. So
don't worry, they've got another first round pick, Ryan. Don't spoil my
perfect. I take it back then.
Pick number 23, Arizona Cardinals. Chris picks that, followed by Ted with the Dallas Cowboys. Chris,
perfect.
Who are your foes getting?
The Cardinals definitely have some needs on the interior offensive line here. They have some needs at guard. They have some needs at center. I mean, they have Rodney Hudson at center, but he is getting a little older. So, maybe looking at replacing him for the future. There's a guy like Tyler Linderbaum sitting on the board right now. Zion Johnson is sitting here as well. So maybe those are some needs, especially, we mentioned Aaron Donald earlier. Of course, the Seahawks in this scenario have taken Jordan Davis. So interior offensive line might have just gotten a lot more important for the Cardinals. But I'm going to the other side. I'm going defensive line, the Georgia Bulldogs, Devontae Wyatt.
Whoa.
That's a good pick. I think a lot of people had him higher on the board before the off the field issues have kind of muddied up his draft position a little bit, but undoubtedly a phenomenal player. Him and Jordan Davis just tore the league up. Again, another one of those ones I'm having a hard time grading where all these guys go because they were just so stacked with talent. We've got America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Ted is picking, and then I am picking with the Buffalo Bills at 25. Ted, who you got?
Yeah, I think that's funny with your comparison that you made, Rodney Hudson, because I think this guy compares really favorable to Rodney Hudson too. So I'm going to have Dallas selecting Zion Johnson. I think that does only good things for their run game. And I honestly think that he could end up having the best career of any offensive lineman that's in this draft. Kind of pegged as a guy who's really strong, a bit of a road grader and a grappler, but not super athletic. And I think personally that he actually compares pretty well to a guy like Joel Bitonio, who currently plays for the Browns, who's just graded out as an NFL All-Pro. So I think when we're looking at a guy like this, I think the potential is there for him to have a long career. And I think that it is a high floor, but I think he actually has a higher ceiling than he's probably given credit for. So Zion Johnson would be my pick for the Dallas Cowboys.
Great pick. Can I say lovely coach, Ted? That's great.
Welcome
There
back,
you go,
Steve.
Steve. We just took Zion
not
Johnson to the Dallas Cowboys, which I think is a no-brainer. And sort of I'm making a little bit of comparisons to Joel Bitonio for a guy that maybe is a little more sneaky athletic than you think.
Did you say Zion?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks for not hosting. Appreciate that.
Hey, no worries. Sometimes you have kid emergencies and there's show.
That's the way she goes. Yeah.
And you got to run when they say jump.
Right.
Okay. I'm on the clock here with the Buffalo Bills.
Neat.
Chris, you're next with the Tennessee Titans. The Bills are in an interesting position here. Really kind of complete team. They also need defensive line help or could use some. So if, Devontae Wyatt wasn't picked there, that would be a nice pick. I'm looking at Travis Jones. I really like him. Big guy, moves really quick. But this is my wild card pick. I think they're just missing one thing on the offense to maybe get them to a Super Bowl. I'm taking Breece Hall, running back, Iowa State. A running back first round.
Wow.
I did not see that coming.
And selfishly, I just want that to happen for fantasy football as well because I own the first overall pick, and that would be an excellent place for Breece Hall to win me my second championship in our league.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That's the one weakness Buffalo's had on offense for, how many years now, right? It has been
find it
since Fred Jackson.
Yeah.
I miss that guy. I miss that guy.
We've got Chris with the Tennessee Titans, and then I'm back on the clock with the Tampa Bay Bucks.
So again, looking at a team here with some interior offensive line needs, guard, center, seems to be pretty common theme for a lot of these teams kind of later in the draft here. They've got a need for some edge rushers, but I think this one is also a no-brainer. 6 feet, 187 pounds, senior. Guy caught 936 yards, 13 touchdowns last year. Also from the Ohio State, Chris Olave.
You're really going back to Ohio State for a lot of these picks, eh?
I've drafted both Ohio State wide receivers already.
Tennessee, no doubt. What's going to happen in Tennessee with all these wide receivers?
Ohio State and Georgia Bulldogs apparently are my two teams today. That was my last pick of the draft, by the way. So see you guys.
Oh,
I'm out.
An early exit there.
Best receiver out of Georgia since Mohamed Massaquoi.
Ooh.
Sick name drop. Okay, I'm on the clock here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh, and then I get to pick again for the Green Bay Packers. So hopefully that vaccination status is still on there.
I'm just checking. It is under the ST, so it's not safety tackle. You guys lied to me for like an hour.
Yeah,
safety tackle. That's not even a position.
If I'm the Bucks, if I want to get really messy here right now, I'm looking at David Ajabo, who went out in his pro day, because I just think, again, the Bucks are a very complete team. They need a little bit of guard help with, I can't remember who the guy was that they lost to the Bengals.
Ryan Jensen, wasn't it?
No, Ryan Jensen re-signed with them. I think, was it Alex Kappa? I think was one of their guards. So I've got Kenyon Green kind of sitting there to replace him on the line. We know Tom loves to be protected. Defensive line, they could use some more help to put in there with Vita Vea. So again, I could go Travis Jones. This one to me seems like, a really big luxury pick for them going forward. There is a tackle on the board who I am going to take instead, because I feel like if I'm the Bucks, I can put him into guard for a year if he needs it. But Tyler Smith out of Tulsa is one of the nastiest run blockers I have ever seen. Like, this guy loves hurting people. His one big knock was the fact that he had a lot of penalties on him, and when you watch it, some of the penalties, he'll like hook a guy with his arm, but quite a few of his penalties that he got, I feel like he ran the guy too hard into the ground, and they're like, oh, I think we like we're obligated to throw a flag here, like, too hard, Tyler. So I'm picking Tyler Smith out of Tulsa to go to the Bucks to help him on the offensive line.
Good pick.
Back to me for the Green Bay Packers, and then Ted gets a couple back-to-back picks with Kansas City picking 29 and 30. So I'm the Packers, and I'm still looking at some wide receivers here. They definitely need help. Maybe they think they can get one in the second round to not kind of break that trend of picking a wide receiver in the first round. Let me see. This is how it's getting. All right, I picked Trevor Penning, so we're good on the offensive line there. Let's get a little crazy here. I am going to pick a wide receiver. Let's get a little weird. Let's get like super weird. I'm actually picking Treylon Burks, wide receiver from Arkansas.
Okay.
As I like to call it. Big physical dude. Pair him with Aaron Rodgers. We know this is Aaron's last couple of years. You got to give him some targets to win football games with. He likes throwing the ball. So Treylon Burks is my pick. Ted, for back-to-back picks with Kansas City Chiefs.
I feel like that was an off-the-board pick, but that's like a pretty fun one. That's another big body guy too. Like maybe some yak if you match him up against a smaller corner or something like that could be. Yeah, that could be a fun one. You've had a history of doing that with some bigger body guys too. So yeah, that could be a fun one.
Yeah.
Our boy Kyle would probably like that pick. On the clock, Kansas City. Again, this is a team that's pretty well put together, but there's a guy that I've had my eye on that's kind of fallen a little bit. And I'm going to have the Kansas City Chiefs selecting Kenyon Green from Texas A&M. Like I said, they look pretty good on the line, so Green is a little bit too good to pass up. This is more of a developmental guy, the guy that's going to be your next anchor for the next little while. Can play a couple of different spots if there's depth and need for that. But eventually there's going to be guys that sort of price themselves out on that line, I think, over the next 1 to 2 years. So this is a safety net pick for Kansas City for the long run. So Kenyon Green in the 29 spot. 30. Okay. Let's get back to having some fun. I think they have to go receiver here at this point. Cheetah's gone. And I think there's an exciting guy on the board. There are a couple of receivers off the board, and I did have my eye on Burks, so that was kind of a funny one. So I'll go the opposite direction, and I'll take Juwan Dotson. And maybe he doesn't have the yak ability, but I mean, this is a sneaky, shifty guy that's got good hands, and I could just foresee him sitting in there picking balls through the middle of the field from Mahomes. So that'll be my fun pick in the back half of the draft here
for Penn State.
Yeah, that's a great just plug and play. You lose the Cheetah. I don't think you're drafting Jahan Dotson to replace Cheetah, but like we were talking about earlier, that price tag that Cheetah would have come with, you basically have to ask yourself, do you want Cheetah and no other help, or do you want, a Jahan Dotson? I also thought you could have went Sky Moore there for, another small, shifty kind of guy that can play that role if they're not totally sold on Mecole Hardman kind of taking that role. We got 2 picks left. We've got Ryan on the clock with the Cincinnati Bengals, and then Ted is cleaning up the draft with the Detroit Lions at 32.
Wow, that must have meant
if
they
we
won
can
the
have the
Super Bowl
Lions
last year. The 32nd pick, they must have won the Super Bowl. They did not.
They did not.
They did not. Well,
Because the Rams don't like first-round picks.
so we talked about cheetahs. I'm drafting a Bengal, which is a tiger. We talked about Super Bowls, and we're talking about a team that lost the Super Bowl. And you know why they lost the Super Bowl? Because they didn't have about 2 extra seconds to work with to make sure that Jamari Chase could get a football in the end zone or at least a first down of some kind. Phenomenal Super Bowl. It actually it's nice when those games really come down to the wire, not absolute blowouts. So if you need a few extra seconds on the board, they do need a guard. They do need a center, and Tyler Linderbaum is still on the board here. So the Bengals, because they're smart, will draft him, and maybe that'll buy them an extra 3 seconds or less, and maybe they do win the Super Bowl this coming year. So Tyler Linderbaum is going to be my pick. I mean, we all think like, man, if he would have just had like 1 more second, and I mean, two seconds in the NFL is an eternity when the ball's in play. So if it's 1 more second or 1.5 more seconds, I think that could actually mean the difference between Joe Not So Cool and Super Bowl Joe. So.
That was we teed that one up for Ryan to give him the easiest pick in the entire draft. Like that's an
it was sitting there. I looked. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I can't pick anyone else.
That's
So,
the most.
It should have gone wide out.
No brainer pick. Yeah, wide out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do the
You know
Bengals
what?
need? Another receiver.
They need dual threats. What about
Yeah.
Tyler Boyd? No, they need someone better than that.
What about T. Higgins?
Yeah.
Who's that guy? Can he play?
So yeah, thank you
Great.
for gifting me the second last pick with the that's probably one of the most obvious picks at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Bengals, you are laughing running to the podium, picking up a position of need and probably the best rated player maybe left on the board. Ted,
And there's a fumble. Never mind, he's gone.
you got the rest of it here, bud. Who's the last pick?
So this whole time, at least for the last like 15 picks, I've had Linderbaum rated in this spot.
Sucks.
It's a lot.
So, and I think that's what Detroit's probably planning on doing, right? There probably is like 4 or 5 positions that they're looking at, and they're waiting for best player available to fall to them, and sort of hoping that they're going to pick one of those BPAs is going to be, either a wide receiver, an edge, or a corner, or an offensive lineman, which I think they would have liked Linderbaum here. So, but I think they're happy at this point to also know that they have some possible, quarterback needs in the future, and knowing that they're not going to have a super high pick next year that they're going to be able to spend towards getting a quarterback. I think they take a chance on a guy that they'll spend a season with, seeing that they can develop and turn into something before ultimately deciding whether or not they're going to invest more capital into trying to get a quarterback next season. So I think that guy for me, for Detroit, is Desmond Ritter. Talking about another athletic quarterback. Guy can scramble. He's got an arm, but it's more about touch throws, I think, at this point. Phenomenal athlete. And I think it's just a guy that you probably can spend some time trying to see what you have in that mode. And if at the very least he doesn't turn out into a top flight starter, there's so many teams that are running multiple quarterback schemes and plays where a guy like this can take advantage. So Josh Dobbs was a comparison early on that I think possibly could have turned out, and he's with Cleveland now, where they're probably going to utilize his skills as well. So even if he doesn't ever turn into the player that they want him to be, I think he will be still a useful roster piece for them.
Well, boys, we did it. All 32 teams have made a pick. Ryan has not sewered any teams too badly.
I did a pretty good job. Thank you.
I think what we're going to do is we're going to post this on Twitter, our draft, and we'll see who gets raked over the coals for their stupidity, or maybe they're going to say you guys should be the next GMs of all of those teams. In which case, my phone is open for those. Maybe before we end here, is there anybody still left on the board that if you are picking at the top of the second round, you are giddy AF, as the kids like to say? Chris, let's start with you. Is there anyone just sitting there that you're like, I can't believe you guys did not pick him?
Nakobe Dean is still on the board, which is just wild. Andrew Booth Jr. was another one that was kind of shocking to me. Kyler Gordon is another guy that a lot of people are mocking to go in the first round. So definitely 3 defensive players that are still available that I think a lot of teams are going to be really, really happy to see. I mean, David Ojabo is another guy, right? I mean, he could go in late in the first round. Like you said, Tampa Bay could make him as a luxury pick type deal. So a lot of teams are going to be really happy to get Ojabo in the second round.
Ryan, anyone sitting there? You can. I know Chris rattled off a whole bunch of people, but are there anyone that you're
all the people? Thanks for saving some. Jeez,
I don't know a lot about this guy, but I'm assuming he's going to be kick ass when he does make it to the NFL. Travis Jones out of Connecticut sounds like he's a real beef eater, nose tackle. So we're going to hear a lot about him, I'm sure. So,
Ted,
I had to pick some.
Yeah, I'll go back to another lengthy receiver and take George Pickens for this one. I think that another Georgia guy, which up until the last little while hasn't really had a long history of producing, high-end receivers. But I think the mold is changing after the last little bit here. And I think a guy like Pickens could fit in real nicely as a guy who could be like a number 3 or 4 receiver and then slot in as your wideout or red zone threat. So it wouldn't surprise me in a rookie year if he's one of those guys that ends up with like 500 or 600 yards and still has like 5 or 6 TDs. So Pickens will be my guy that I'll take for that spot.
Yeah, those are all really good picks. I agree with all of those. Travis Jones, a bit of a shocker. It was a few different places I really wanted to pick him. Andrew Booth Jr., like Chris said, I think is a big miss. Khair Elam, another corner there. Not as many edge rushers went in this mock that I thought. I thought I would have seen some of those teams with edge needs, Boy Mafe or Aaron Ebiketie, 2 really good, interesting picks. If the board fell this way, I think we would see the wildest second round we've ever seen. Because I think there's just so much talent in those first 10 picks where you're going to see a lot of movement for teams. So we're out of time here, boys. But
sorry, before we go, I want to ask if there's anyone that surprises you that went in the first round.
Yeah, we should.
Bo Levi Mitchell. I can't believe he went second overall.
For me, it's 3 quarterbacks. 3 quarterbacks in the first round. I'm also going to call myself out here. I would be surprised to see Breece Hall go in the first, because I think if Buffalo needs him, I think there's a way they could trade up in the second to get him. But that's kind of just like my wild card pick, knowing that they've been missing on running backs and need one.
Ted, who's your surprise of the first round? And it was 4 quarterbacks, Steve.
I mean, 4 quarterbacks.
Sam Howell.
Oh, maybe I missed Howell.
Yeah, I think this is a real easy one for me. For me, it was Breece Hall, right? I mean, this is a luxury pick. It's a running back. I mean, traditionally we're seeing quality running backs go in the second round. Look at Nick Chubb, right? But that being said, it goes to the right team, a team that doesn't have any drastic needs and calls out, running back as a position where they could fill, and it'd be really useful. So although it was a shock to me to see Breece Hall go, it makes perfect sense to Buffalo.
Ryan, any surprises?
I mean, again, the NFL draft isn't my strong suit, but I mean, a guy like Tyler Lindenbaum, if he's going that late, if he's this good of a player, how do you fall to the freaking 31st pick? So again, the actual draft is always super interesting, and we all get excited because of fantasy football and who's going where and which offensive prospects are going to be going. But the actual game of football, obviously, there's a lot of the technical needs. And a guy like that, like I said, if he's that good, how does he fall to the 31st pick?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, too, because every single first round, there's someone that gets picked who is like way down on everybody's draft board. Like someone always takes, and it usually happens, in the 20s to 30s where you're like, what? Who did you just pick? And I don't necessarily know if we had any of those in there, but you can, bet your coffee that someone is going to get picked late in the first where you're like, why did they pick them there? Like, why reach that far? Chris, who's your surprise?
Tyler Smith to Tampa Bay. I don't think I've seen Tyler Smith mocked in the first round in any of the mock drafts that I've been doing. I think he's in that second to third kind of range. So yeah, that was for sure the biggest shock for me. I know you said it was a luxury pick, and Tampa can kind of go anywhere with that pick. But yeah, that one definitely threw me off guard, or off tackle maybe.
Well played.
Boys, thanks for joining us. Ryan, you're still a Bengal as a Tiger, so
Yeah.
I guess what's on the up and up for Ryan? How's your golf game going?
Oh, it's getting really good. I haven't been for an actual round yet. Working on that. Baseball season's good, as you guys can attest. So we're doing that on our show. We do have a big guest this week. Ted probably won't be there for that one, but we've got we'll have him maybe a call in or some pre-recorded tape of said things. But no, definitely one you're going to want to watch for sure. I mean, our hockey season on our side of the board is definitely going to wind down. I think there's going to be on the network. There's a playoff show that we're hoping to get started again. The playoff pricks like we did last year. Did really, really well. So probably have to get you guys in there too.
Yeah, and let everyone know when and where they can catch your show this week.
You can catch it. We got rid of MySpace. We figured that wasn't working out. So
No AOL.
yeah.
You can chime in live using ICQ.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we're on YouTube. We've got our YouTube page, the PP1 Podcast. We've got our Facebook as well as you guys do. If you're just scrolling through and want to have a quick little peek in on Twitter, you can catch us there. Obviously, you can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, like any other good podcast would be, as you guys are. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for having me. I can't speak for Ted, so.
Ted, as you like to coin the phrase, your shameless plug time. How's your CrossFit stuff going?
Oh, CrossFit's good. Yeah, we're training for Olympic weightlifting event for the end of May. So it's hard right now, but it's easy because there's not a lot of cardio going on, which is where I really struggle. So those days of having to feel like you're going to puke on the floor, I haven't seen one of those for a little while. Maybe skip the days where you do double unders or something like that. So that's fun. Heading to Portland on Tuesday. So we'll go visit Oregon. We'll hit some craft breweries and things like that. Maybe we'll go visit Voodoo Donuts. I think that's probably a must. And probably going to even be around to check out a Hillsborough Hops game versus the Vancouver Canadians. So yeah, let's go. We'll pick up some maybe some baseball gear for the squad. We'll see how it goes. Whatever I can fit back in my suitcase. So yeah, stoked. Other than that, the podcast is doing good. PP1. Ryan and I kind of bringing it each week to talk Canucks hockey and a little bit more. Move on from that. Obviously, Thanos is coming up pretty soon for us, which I'm stoked about. The four of us.
Are we going to do like a post-draft Thanos show? We should do one. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Be fun.
Yeah. Sorry, I cut you.
Yeah.
How much time
no, it's all good. So yeah, I think there's lots of exciting stuff coming on the horizon for obviously for you guys and for us as a quartet. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
And then, as always, Mr. Phillips, the last words.
Yeah, Ryan, Ted, thanks for joining us, guys. It was fun as always.
Yeah.
I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their sunny afternoon here in the Okanagan, or wherever you may be. I hope it's sunny. And yeah, give us a follow over on Twitter at ballhawks_pod. You can find me at PhillipsChris12. Don't forget, Steve, we are, of course, the Ball Hawks podcast presented by the Dean Blundell Network. And as always, guys, go Hawks.